January 1951, northern Wyoming. Cattle country, 40 miles outside Casper. The storm starts just after sundown. By midnight, the roads disappear under snow. By morning, one rancher will be dead beside the trail home, and the old sheepdog sleeping beside the stove will still be alive because of him. If stories like this still mean something to you, subscribe now. There are more waiting out there in the dark. Earl Bennett ran a small cattle ranch along the Powder River. Nothing fancy. Synth acres. One weather-beaten barn. A 2-room ranch house with a crooked porch. And one old border collie named Blue. Blue had been with Earl nearly 11 years. Longer than most people stayed. The dog slept beside the stove every winter night and followed Earl through every pasture every summer morning. People in town joked the dog knew the ranch better than Earl did. Maybe he did. Back in the winter of 1947, Earl had fallen through river ice checking cattle near Miller's Crossing. Most men would not have survived that water. Blue barked until 2 neighboring ranch hands found him half frozen along the bank. After that, Earl never called Blue just a dog again. Then came January of 1951. Blue stops eating first. Then he stops barking. Then one morning, Earl finds the dog unable to stand without his legs shaking beneath him. By Friday night, Blue is breathing hard beside the stove while snow rattles against the windows hard enough to sound like gravel. The old dog tries lifting his head when Earl kneels beside him. Cannot do it. Outside, Wyoming disappears beneath white wind. The nearest veterinarian is 18 miles away in Casper. Most men would wait until morning. Out on the Wyoming plains, men sometimes crossed blizzards for things other people would call just a dog. Earl Bennett does not wait. He throws another log into the stove, pulls on his heavy ranch coat, then saddles his horse in the dark. Blue watches from beside the fire. The dog's eyes never leave the door. The storm gets worse once Earl reaches open country. Snow moves sideways across the plains. The lantern hanging from the saddle horn swings violently in the wind. The horse lowers its head and pushes forward through drifts nearly chest deep. Twice, Earl loses the trail completely. Near Miller's Crossing, the horse slips hard enough to throw Earl halfway from the saddle before he catches himself against the frozen leather horn. The cold is turning dangerous now. By the time he reaches Casper, ice has frozen white across his eyebrows and coat collar. Dr. Wallace opens the door holding a lantern. For 1 second, he thinks Earl Bennett might already be dead standing there. "Dog's dying," Earl says. That is all he says. Dr. Wallace looks out into the storm behind him. "No one should be riding in this," Earl nods once. "But I did." 20 minutes later, they ride back into the Wyoming night. The storm has grown mean now. Wind hard enough to shake the saddle leather, snow deep enough to bury fence posts. The horse knows the trail better than either man can see it. Stopping out here sometimes means never moving again. Earl rides ahead carrying the lantern. Dr. Wallace follows the faint swinging light through the storm. At some point near the north pasture gate, Earl begins slowing in the saddle. Dr. Wallace calls his name once, then again louder. No answer comes back, only wind. Then Earl's horse stops near the drifted fence line beside the ranch trail. Earl Bennett does not move. For one terrible second, Dr. Wallace thinks the rancher has simply fallen asleep from exhaustion. Then he sees the truth. Earl Bennett is frozen stiff in the saddle, one gloved hand still wrapped around the reins. Snow has already begun collecting across the brim of his hat. The veterinarian sits there in the storm staring at him while the horse breathes steam into the darkness. Then Dr. Wallace looks toward the ranch house, barely visible another quarter-mile ahead, and he understands exactly what carried Earl Bennett this far. Blue is still alive when the veterinarian reaches the house. Barely. The dog cannot even lift his head anymore. But when the front door opens, Blue's tail moves once against the floorboards. Dr. Wallace works beside the stove nearly an hour. Medicine, warm water, blankets. Slowly, the old dog's breathing steadies. By sunrise, Blue survives. Earl Bennett does not. The town buries him 3 days later beneath a gray Wyoming sky. Most of Casper shows up, ranchers, railroad men, feed store owners, even people who barely knew him. Blue lies beside the gravesite through the entire service. The dog never leaves the coffin once. After the burial, Dr. Wallace takes Blue home with him. But every morning for the next 2 years, Blue waits beside the clinic fence at sunrise facing north toward the Powder River Trail. Some mornings he waits an hour. Some mornings longer. Like he still expects to see Earl Bennett riding home through the snow. Blue dies in the winter of 1953. Dr. Wallace buries him beneath the cedar tree outside the ranch house Earl Bennett built with his own hands. The storm moved on by morning. Blue survived the winter. But Earl Bennett never rode home again.